It was just another ordinary day in the small town of Greenfield, or so it seemed. A young, ambitious 17-year-old, Jamal, dressed in an old hoodie, his sneakers worn from years of hard work, walked into the local bank with nothing but a dream in his heart. He had an idea, a vision, a plan that could change everything. But what he didn't know was that today, he would face ridicule, rejection, and doubt from the very people who were supposed to help him. Jamal had always believed in the power of perseverance. Growing up in a neighborhood where success stories were rare, he learned early on that if you want something bad enough, you must fight for it. And Jamal had been fighting for years. He'd grown up watching his family struggle, fighting for every penny, every opportunity. But he had something they didn't: determination. The struggles at home made Jamal more focused on his goals. He wasn't just another kid dreaming big in a tough world. He understood the meaning of sacrifice, of how every dollar earned meant more than just a paycheck. It meant food on the table. It meant education. It meant a future. And Jamal knew that his future wasn't going to be shaped by anyone other than himself. It was up to him to break the cycle, to become more than what the world expected of him. He entered the bank with the same dream that had driven him for months: to start his own business. A business that would make him not just a success, but someone who could change the game. He wanted to buy the bank. But as fate would have it, they didn't take him seriously. The moment Jamal stepped in, he could feel the eyes on him. He was the only teenager in the room. The polished business people, dressed in sharp suits, exchanged glances. A few chuckled under their breath. Jamal's presence, scruffy and underdressed, didn't seem to match the expectations. But Jamal was unfazed. He wasn't here to fit in. He was here to make a statement. He approached the counter with confidence, his heart racing, and asked to speak with the manager. After a few moments of waiting, he was ushered into the office of Mr. Larrington, the bank manager. Mr. Larrington was an older man, with a neatly pressed shirt and a cold, distant stare. He sat behind a large mahogany desk, looking down at Jamal like he was a fly buzzing around. "So, young man, what can I help you with today?" Mr. Larrington's voice was dry, almost bored. Jamal stood straight, never wavering. "I want to buy the bank," he said without hesitation. The room fell silent for a moment. Mr. Larrington raised an eyebrow, then chuckled. "You want to buy the bank?" Jamal didn't flinch. "Yes, I've done the research. I have the resources. I want to buy this bank and turn it into something that actually serves this community." Mr. Larrington leaned back in his chair, crossing his arms. "That's quite an ambitious dream, son. But do you really know what you're talking about? You're just a kid." Jamal stood his ground, his voice unwavering. "I know exactly what I'm talking about. I've worked hard, saved money, and I'm ready. I believe in this." Mr. Larrington leaned forward, his fingers tapping the desk slowly. "I admire your enthusiasm, but you need more than enthusiasm to buy a bank. Do you have the funds? The backing? The experience?" Jamal paused. He had anticipated these questions, but he didn't have all the answers. He wasn't a businessman yet, not in the traditional sense. He'd spent his childhood reading business books, learning about finance, and absorbing everything he could from the internet. He knew that the world wasn't going to hand him opportunities just because he was bright or determined. "Not yet," Jamal admitted, "but I'm working on it." Mr. Larrington let out a mocking laugh. "Kid, you're dreaming. Go back to school, get a job, and come back in 10 years. Maybe then we'll talk." He waved his hand dismissively. Jamal's heart sank. He had expected skepticism, but this was worse than he had imagined. Mr. Larrington didn't just doubt him. He laughed at him. The man in charge of all the money in town didn't believe in him. But Jamal didn't leave the bank that day defeated. Instead, he walked out with a burning desire to prove everyone wrong. Jamal didn't see rejection as a sign to stop. For him, it was fuel for the fire. The months that followed were filled with relentless work. He started reading more business books, learning about investments, and researching the financial industry with the intensity of someone who had everything to lose. He worked side jobs, delivering packages, tutoring kids in his neighborhood, and saved every penny he could. Every dollar he earned was reinvested into his future, whether it was spent on an online course, books on finance, or networking opportunities. Jamal also connected with people who could help him: investors, entrepreneurs, and anyone who had been successful in the financial world. He used his social media to share his journey, documenting his steps towards the goal of buying the bank. His online presence grew, and as more people saw his drive and determination, they began to believe in him. One small victory led to another. Slowly, he built the credibility he needed. His break came when he learned about a merger opportunity. A small, struggling bank was looking for a buyer. It wasn't the bank he had originally targeted, but it was a start. This was his chance to make his mark. With his hard-earned savings and the connections he had built, Jamal presented an offer to the board of directors. He didn't have all the money up front, but he made it clear that he was the right person for the job. He was dedicated. He had vision. To everyone's shock, including Mr. Larrington's, the board accepted Jamal's offer. Within the next 6 months, Jamal had taken control of the bank. The once dismissed teenager was now in charge, holding the keys to the institution that had laughed at him. When Jamal walked back into the bank, this time, not as a hopeful teenager, but as the proud new owner, he could feel the weight of his success. The same people who had doubted him were now sitting in the waiting area, looking up at him in awe. Mr. Larrington was there too, his face pale and his lips tight. Jamal walked into Mr. Larrington's office and with a steady hand placed the deed to the bank on the desk. "I think we need to talk," Jamal said, his voice calm but firm. "I've bought the bank. I'll be running things from now on." The look on Mr. Larrington's face was priceless. He had no words. He just sat there speechless as Jamal turned around and walked out of the office, his dreams now a reality. Under Jamal's leadership, the bank went through a massive transformation. He introduced new programs aimed at helping underprivileged families, educated young adults about financial literacy, and reinvested in the community that had once been overlooked. He wanted to create a space where everyone could thrive, not just the wealthy, but the everyday person who dreamed of something more. The changes weren't just financial. Jamal made sure that the bank's environment reflected the values he held dear: honesty, integrity, and community. He started offering scholarships to local students, giving them the chance to pursue higher education. He also implemented financial education programs for people who had never been taught about managing money. The bank became a hub of opportunity, a place where the people of Greenfield could grow, invest in their future, and dream big, just like Jamal had. The more the community saw his efforts, the more they rallied behind him. Jamal didn't just buy a bank. He bought into a future that was bigger than just him. He used the wealth and influence he gained to create opportunities for others, proving that with determination, strategy, and resilience, even the most impossible dreams could come true. What started as a simple dream to own a business, to prove the naysayers wrong, had turned into a mission to change lives. Jamal didn't just gain financial success. He gained the respect of an entire community that once doubted him. He wasn't the same kid who walked into the bank all those months ago. He had grown, not just in wealth, but in wisdom, leadership, and character. And now, he was the one in control, not just of a bank, but of his own destiny. He had made it. And so, the story of Jamal, the young black teen who was laughed at by the bank, becomes a testament to the power of perseverance and belief. If you've ever faced rejection or been told you couldn't make it, Jamal's story shows that with hard work and grit, you can achieve the impossible. Don't forget to like this video if you believe in chasing your dreams, and subscribe to our channel for more inspiring stories. Let us know in the comments below what's the biggest goal you're working toward.